اهلا بيكم. طبعا زي ما قلت لحضراتكم في الفقرة الأولى، كل الحاجات اللي احنا هنسأل فيها الضيوف، وهنبتدي النهاردة مع سيناتور نيويورك سيناتور أندرو جراندس عشان نطرح عليه أسئلة كتير، ونتمنى من ربنا ان احنا نقدر يعني نلاقي إجابات as much as we can على الأسئلة اللي معانا للسيناتور أندرو. Senator Andrew, how are you?
Hey, hello. How are you?
Very good, thank you. Thank you so much again for we always call you when something big in New York. So
Yeah.
so we really appreciate your invitation to us, to answer the questions that we have for you, and I promise you I will be short and sweet.
So, great.
Okay, so New York was planned to open on the 8th this month, like another week from now.
Mm-hmm.
So that date was announced before the incidents that happened 6 days ago in Minneapolis, for the death of George Floyd. So. And in the meantime, as you know now, we have a curfew. Is the plan changed, or we still open on the 8th of June?
As of right now, according to the governor, we are still planning to enter phase 1 of the reopening on June 8th. The governor announced his curfew just a couple hours ago, so it's a little bit new. So we don't have all the answers yet, but as of right now, nothing has been said about changing the opening date.
Okay, so in the original plan, how many phases the governor was planning for, to open the state?
There will be 4 phases of reopening.
Okay, so the first phase that hopefully it will open, is that going to be like 100% completed for the phase 1? And which businesses and which places that will open on phase 1?
So in phase 1, what that means is that retail stores can open up to do curbside pickup or in-store pickup, and non-essential construction and manufacturing can resume.
Okay, but is that going to be include restaurant businesses?
No, not restaurants. Retail only.
Retail only.
So like bookstores, kitchen stores, clothing stores, retail stores, shopping stores, and then non-essential construction and manufacturing.
Okay. Well, is that do we have a statistics like in New York State, like how many small businesses as a retail stores or whatever included in phase 1 that it will be open? Because I understand, that we are very concerned about the increase of new cases, but I have few questions about small business owners that they are suffering tremendously at this time. Is that the restaurant businesses and other, small businesses, is that majority for, let's say, for phase 2, or do you guys have like a map who's going to be phase 2 or who's going to be phase 3?
So what the governor has put out has been, this is all about making sure that we can contain the outbreak and make sure that, if and when the virus breaks out again, that we have the capacity to properly treat the healthcare system. So what we have done is we have broken up the state into different regions, and depending on how the different regions meet 7 different metrics in terms of hospital capacity, number of cases declining, number of new infections and things like that, then each region can start to reopen. And as it reopens, it'll then start the 4 different phases of the reopening process. So there is a plan in place, and it is a very comprehensive plan. I know for many people it's frustrating because it doesn't always seem to make sense, and part of it has been very confusing, but they're doing it very intentionally because they want to make sure that we are slowly reopening and making sure we have all the precautions in place to limit the number of people who can get sick.
Do we have like a time frame between each phase, like phase one with that you mentioned? Do we know like for how long the phase one in order to move to the second phase?
It's a minimum of 2 weeks between each phase. So
Okay.
as long as the numbers of the health numbers and the metrics keep getting better, we're going to wait 2 weeks between each phase. If the numbers start going up again, we're going to slow down. But if they keep getting better, we're going to keep opening every 2 weeks.
Okay. Now, we have also a lot of questions from a lot of small businesses, mortgage holders, tenants. We know that now landlords, they're suffering and they starting filing for eviction cases for tenants. Do we, you know, I know that you prepared a bill for tenants and forbearance on the mortgage payments and all that. So my question to you, when the forbearance on the mortgages, that decision was done by federal government ordering to the banks? Because I hear a lot of different things between, I mean, for people that you have mortgage with different lenders. For example, like ABC Bank have different plan than LM Bank. You know, some banks, they said that we're going to extend the term for 3 months, okay? And some banks, they say, no, after a 3 month, you're going to pay the 3 month lump sum as a forbearance. And now, what's going to happen, next month will be the 3rd month, and the people still not return to work. What's going to happen?
Yeah, it's a very, very good question, and one that we don't have. I don't have a good the right answer to, and the reason is because what the federal government did with the CARES Act only went so far. 60% of all mortgages in the United States are given by banks that are backed by federal guarantees, like the Freddie Mac and the Fannie Mae mortgages. So a lot of the major banks are all backed by the federal mortgage agencies. And the federal government said that the banks have to give forbearance, but they did not specify whether or not there had to be a lump sum repayment at the end of the forbearance, or if they could add on additional time to the end of the mortgage. That's a federal problem, and we're working very hard to get Washington, D.C. to change that, because right now we in the state cannot fix that. In New York State, what we passed was a bill to cover all state-backed mortgages, and there's a lot of banks that operate just in New York that give out mortgages, so we have control over them. And what we said for those banks, and that's about 40% of all the mortgages in New York, what we've said is that you have to give forbearance and you have to extend the duration of the mortgage so that there's no immediate lump sum payment due.
Okay, you know, Senator, I know that you're always on the ground. You always knock door by door to ask people if they need help, and we really appreciate all your hard work. But I am also, you know, I deal with public and I hear what the people saying. You know, that's why I'm trying to send the voice of the public, you know, through yourself or through my show, you know, as much as we can. Now, if the 3 month pass, why we have to wait after 3 months for another bill? Why can we just, you know, send our voice to work on an extension for the forbearance for another 3 months until New York or the entire country back 100% in business, and then we can have like another deal with all, the mortgage holders, and avoiding a credit issue that can ruin their credit, which is, it's very, very important at this time, especially, as a lot of people now, millions of people, they actually almost maxed out their credit. So is there something that the Senate planning to do this, something like this, to do an extension like we had? I mean, the federal government, they did another bill, another stimulus, because they found out that it's a major economic issue, and we do appreciate the federal government and the states for all their help. But at the same time, as you know, mortgage defaulting is number one issue on our personal credit report. Is there something that you're planning, or the Senate is concerning about it? Can you please just
listen, you are bringing up absolutely the right point, and and I'm glad you're bringing this up, because I hear this too from people all the time when I'm out in the community, and I get emails and phone calls from people, and I don't want to see anybody lose their home over this. I don't want to see anybody go into foreclosure, or have their credit score impacted. That's the last thing that I want. The challenge is there's a difference, and we talked about this in our last call, and we talked about it now as well, the difference between what power we have at the state level to control these things and what power there has at the federal level to control these things. Now, the House of Representatives, like you just said, passed a great bill a couple weeks ago that it's about $3 trillion of relief to people across the country. It helps with housing payments. It helps with unemployment. It helps the state and local governments pay their bills. It helps everybody. It's the best bill we could hope for. It's called the HEROES Act. And the United States Senate is blocking that bill. The majority leader of the United States Senate is a senator from Kentucky. His name is Mitch McConnell, and he has said that he is not interested in discussing that bill. So the problem is that we are all being held hostage by the United States Senate and by the majority in the United States Senate, led by Mitch McConnell. So we are trying to do everything we can in New York to push the Congress to act. And I've written letters. I've gotten my colleagues to sign letters with me to Washington to push and push and push. And we've done, phone calls and digital rallies. But the only way we're going to solve the problem that you're talking about, is we have to focus on the United States Senate. I wish, they call me senator, but my power is only in New York. I wish I could help make this happen in Washington, but we're limited into what we can do. We really have to get the Senate and the president to go along with it, because even the president has not been so supportive of doing what the House of Representatives passed, and that is really a very, very good bill that we need.
How can we help to send a message to the House to put pressure that this is something, it's going to save the economy? Because what's going to happen is, when all of our citizens, when they reached out their maximum credit and defaulting under mortgages and any other loans, these citizens, they will have no choice by filing bankruptcy. And as you know, this is the worst thing can happen in a personal level, and at the same time to a lot of creditors, that it may force big companies to go out of business.
Right. You're absolutely right. And what I would say is, every one of your listeners should call their congressman, and every one of your listeners and your viewers should call our two senators here in New York, our federal senators, Senator Schumer and Senator Gillibrand. Call their offices, call your congress member's office. If you live in Bay Ridge, your congressman is Max Rose. Call your congressman, call your U.S. senators, and tell them how important this is, because the more that they hear from all of us, the stronger our voices will be. And that's how we put that pressure. And we're doing the same thing. Like I said, we've written letters. I've written letters to Congress. My colleagues have written letters with me to Congress to push this issue. But we just don't have the power to do it ourselves. So we need everyone in our community and everyone across the city and everyone across the state to really call their congressman. It does make a difference. We have to just keep pushing.
Okay, Senator Andrew, thank you so much. Again, I mean, we all appreciate all your hard work, and we appreciate coming again on my show to answer all these questions. God bless you. Stay safe. And,
Thank you.
Please, we appreciate all, your acceptance on our invitations. That's why we know who's Andrew Gounardes. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
and have a good
thank
evening.
you so much for having me. I know people need help right now. I get emails from people at 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. They're desperate, and I feel that pain every single night. So I understand, and we are trying to do everything we can to make this better for people, and I'm not going to stop until we do. Thank you for having me, and I look forward to talking to you all again very soon.
Thank you. Have a good one. Take care.
Bye.
Senator Andrew, I spoke to أنا كلمته الأسبوع اللي فات، وكان بيسوق لبلد اسمها ألباني. للي ما يعرفش نيويورك، من نيويورك دي حوالي 4 ساعات سواقة عشان يروح يقدم طلب للسيناتورز ويتكلم مع السيناتورز اللي هم من مناطق تانية، لأنه فعلا ما بينامش زي ما بيقول، وعشان كده احنا بنحترمه وبنحترم وكلامه. الراجل زي ما بنقول كده بالمصري راجل دغري، فعشان كده احنا دايما بنستضيفه هنا في البرنامج واحنا بنشكره. وطبعا هنلتقي بالأستاذ محمد السواعيري في الفقرة القادمة عشان نسأله برضو على الحاجات الديون بقى والبنكرابسي والمحاكم والحاجات دي. وانتظروني ونطلع فاصل ومع الأستاذ محمد السواعيري في الفقرة الجاية إن شاء الله.